y is equals to negative 2x plus 8. So, ladies and gentlemen, so now what we need to do is obviously to substitute what we know. We know y is equals to 0 minus 2x plus 8. What we don't know is that x value over there. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I actually ran out of a battery, and then what I did was quickly to change the recording device. So doesn't really matter. I just want to quickly show you how to get that final answer. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, obviously because we don't know the value of x, that means we need to now solve for x. Okay, so there's something, guys, that I want you to notice. Let's say let me say 0 is equals to negative m plus 7, just as an example, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, guys, you don't necessarily need to move the number to the other side. Okay, you can still move this letter to the other side. Why? Because you want to have your final answer in the letter of a letter it's equals to number. Okay, very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, that you understand what I'm trying to explain over there. So that means you can just move that m. Obviously, remember, it changes the sign, then it becomes positive m, which is equals to 7. Okay, so this is the format in which you want your final answer. But otherwise, if you want to move the number, then it means it becomes minus 7, which is equals to negative m. Okay, so from there, you obviously need to divide by negative 1, so that negative it cancels, then you have 7, which is equals to m. Then you're still going to rewrite them in that form or in that format. Okay, that's why I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, it's not at all times where it's a must that you only move the numbers or you transpose the numbers. Okay, you can still move the letters to the other side. By so saying, ladies and gentlemen, you won't be surprised when I write 2x, which is equals to 8. Okay, obviously you just divide by 2, you divide by 2 so that it cancels, and then you remain with x, which is equals to 4, which means you've got your final answer in the form of letter. It's equals to number. Okay, very, 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 very much important, ladies and gentlemen. So that means our x value is equals to 4. Okay, what I like about functions, ladies and gentlemen, is that as soon as you find your final answer, listen to me very carefully, guys. The moment you find your final answer, you can actually go back to the graph to check or verify if indeed your final answer makes sense. I'm not sure if you understand, ladies and gentlemen, but what I'm saying is you can still go and verify if your final answer makes sense. Okay, so guys, obviously the x value is 4, and of course we expected a value which is greater than 1. Why greater than 1? Because the midpoint of or maybe when this graph is separated by half, that axis of symmetry or that point there, it's 1. So you obviously expect a positive number which is greater than 1. Okay, so it indeed suits to be 4 at that point of t. Okay, very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, very, very much important. Before I forget, guys, for you to equate that equation to 0, we give you a mark. Remember, this question was allocated 2 marks. Okay, so we give you a mark for equating it to 0, and then from there we also give you a mark for your final answer. Okay, very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. Please do make sure that you do not lose these free marks. Okay, so guys, for today's lesson, it's actually going to be a bit tricky in a sense that I've got some challenges with my battery, but I hope you fully understood exactly what I did over there. Okay, so I'm going to remove all of this information, and then from there what I will do is to quickly move to the next question, which is 6.2. Okay, so let's check what the question wants us to do. Ladies and gentlemen, a question worth 4 marks. They say determine the equation for f in the form f of x is equals to that, show all your workings. Okay, very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. Show all your workings. Okay, so guys, let's determine that graph. Might be a tricky question, but let's see. We know they want it in the form of f of x, or let me just say y. Okay, let me just say y is equals to f of x, which is equals to, we just know we've got a x squared plus bx plus c. Okay, this question is allocated 4 marks, which means it's not really that much complicated. You just need to apply your mind, apply the basics that you know. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, can we just perform a very quick calculation? Remember, guys, you know very well that if you can have the intercepts of a parabola, the two intercepts, and just 1 point along that graph, you can easily solve this question, ladies and gentlemen. So the reason why I'm saying this is because we can easily find that point. You remember the midpoint formula, ladies and gentlemen. You know, x is equals to x1. I'll just verify something over there, ladies and gentlemen, plus x2, which is equals to, over 2. I'm just trying to think of something. Let's say xm, which is x at the midpoint of t and p. Okay, so guys, what I'm trying to say is we know that that point over there is 1. This is the midpoint of the point of p and t. I'm not sure if you understand, ladies and gentlemen. So this is equals to, we already know the first x value over there. We can say it's positive 4 plus the x at p. Yeah, no, I think I should have said this is the x at t, this is the x at p, so that it makes sense. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is divided by 2, right? So obviously, if you multiply that, you cross multiply, you obviously have 2, which is equals to 4 plus x of p. So that means x of p is equals to, you move it to the other side, it becomes 2 minus 4, of which is equals to minus 2. Okay, guys, you can just note it down to say p is actually equals to negative 2 and 0. So we obviously know over there the x value is negative 2. Okay, guys, how did I calculate this? It's because I know the axis of symmetry and I know 1 point of the x-intercept. So that means 1 is halfway between these 2 points. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. So, guys, let's now try to check if we cannot use this formula. Because why? We already know, ladies and gentlemen, we already know that, let me see, I'm not really sure if we're given that formula, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not really sure if we're given that formula, but I think I still remember the formula. I'll just try to write it down. I'm not sure if you remember this formula, ladies and gentlemen, where they say, let me see, I think I saw something similar to that. No, it's not given. I'm not sure if you remember this formula, guys. Y is equals to A into, I think it's X, something like X minus X1, and then I think it's X again minus X2. I hope this is how the formula looks like, ladies and gentlemen. So you use this formula if you know the X intercepts, okay? And again, if you just know one point along that particular graph. So in this case, the intention is to use these two x-intercepts and then use that 1 point over there. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it's up to you to decide if this is x1 and this is your x2. To make it easy again, ladies and gentlemen, let's say this is the x of p and then this is the x of t, just so that it makes sense and it's easy. Okay, let's substitute. We've got our y, which is equals to a into x minus, what is our x at t? It's equals to 4. Then you just say 4. Then you say into x. What is our x at p? It's equals to -2. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, the main aim here is to actually calculate the value of a. Okay, so let's now proceed with our calculations. Remember, guys, you need the x-intercepts, okay, where you must have x1 and x2. And again, you need any point, just 1 point along that graph. And there you go, we've got that point over there. Okay, so we can then use that point, ladies and gentlemen. What is the y there? It's 18, which is equals to a. What is the x? It's 1 minus 4. What is x? We use the same x, which is that. Obviously, this times this, it makes it +2. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that means we have 18, which is equals to, what is this, guys? I think this is -3. And what is this? This is, it should be 3. Then it's a minus and a minus multiply. Then it should be -9. Okay, so it's more like you've got a into -9. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. What does it mean? It means you can just divide by the -9. You also divide by -9. Okay, so it cancels. You remain with a, which is equals to this. I think 18 divided by 9, it's 2. Obviously, remember that minus over there. That means our a is -2. Okay, very, very much important, ladies. So now that our a is -2, guys, our a is -2. Okay, so that obviously means, let me just use this portion here to say y is equals to -2 into x. What was our x at t? It was -4, and then you close, and then that one over there is obviously x, and our x at p, obviously it's -2. Then with that minus from the original formula, it makes it a positive. Then it's more like we have +2. Okay, so now it's just to simplify this or rewrite it such that we give the answer in the form that they requested. So obviously it's -2. You multiply that by that, it's equals to x squared multiplied by that, it's +2x. This by that, it's -4x. That by that, it's equals to minus, let me see, it's -8, I think. Isn't it -8? I think it's because what is it? 4 multiplied by that, it's equals to what is it? It's equals to 8, and it's a minus sign. Why a minus sign? Obviously because let me see why, because of that minus over there. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let's now proceed with our question. So I'm just trying to think of something, ladies and gentlemen. So our a is negative 2, obviously. Let's see, obviously these two guys, it's a negative 2, isn't it? So that means we have x squared minus 2x minus 8. Okay, so now it's just a matter of you multiply. So that means, guys, f of x is equals to that times that. It's minus 2x squared. That's that times that. It's positive because of the 2 minus there. 2 plus 2, 2 times 2 is equals to 4, and then negative times negative, it becomes positive. 2 times 8, it should be 16. Yeah, so it should be 16. So ladies and gentlemen, that means this is the final answer to this question. I hope everyone is able to see, ladies and gentlemen. So that means this is how you score your 4 marks. Okay, so we can just I think we can just give you a mark, ladies and gentlemen, for correct substitution over there. And again, for you to be able to calculate the value of a, we also give you a mark. And I think you also deserve a mark for writing that correct formula, ladies and gentlemen. And again, also for your final answer, we can just give you a mark. Okay, very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. So guys, I've just noticed that again I'm still experiencing that same problem. So guys, if you don't mind, can you please just allow me to answer the last question, because otherwise I think we're almost done. If I can just do this last question, then from there we can I think we'll do part 2, but for now let me just try to include this question because I think it's very, very much important. They say if f of x it's equals to negative 2x squared plus 4x plus 16, calculate the coordinates of r. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, can you see they've just actually given us the answer for that question. They say f of x it's equals to negative 2x squared plus 4x plus 16. I think this is the answer that we got on our previous question, lady. I think this is the answer that we got. You can just, I think, replay this video when you're done to just confirm if we got that answer, because guys, obviously it's a set shape. We got a negative 2, and again we know there it should be a positive c there, and it should be a number which is between these 2 points, which is 16. Okay, so I think we got the correct. So now they are saying if f of x is equals to that equation that we got, calculate the coordinates of r. This is the coordinates of r. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the point of intersection of the 2 graphs. Okay, very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. What we know about r, there's nothing that we know, ladies and gentlemen, because that point at r, it's not positioned on any of the x's. So we cannot say maybe x is 0 or y is 0. Okay, that one only applies where the graph touches one of the x's. Okay, so obviously we know at point r, we can just say at r, that's where what is it, g of x, it's equals to f of x. Okay, this is a very massive step, ladies and gentlemen, because you know you just equate the 2 equations and solve. It's equals to minus 2x squared plus 4x plus 16. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it's easy, it's straightforward. You just solve for x. Okay, very, very much important, ladies. So for solving for x, I assume everyone knows, so I'll just quickly show you how to solve for x. So guys, obviously you want to have everything on the left side. Why? Because you've got a quadratic over there, then it means you want to move everything to the other side and equate it to 0. Okay, so let's move it to the other side. So obviously you've got a positive 2x squared. That one, it changed a sign. Okay, so you obviously had minus 2x over there. Let me just move this so that it's closer to that one. Then it's minus 4x. you had 8, which has always been there. Then you move this one, changes the sign, you equate everything to 0. Okay, why did I move everything to the left and equate it to 0? It's because of this thing, ladies and because it tells me that I'm going to have the factors and get 2 values of x. Okay, that's why I had to move everything to the left and equate it to 0, and not move the letters to the left and the numbers to the right. Okay, if I didn't have that squared, ladies and gentlemen, if I didn't have that squared, I was going to move only this with the letters and this with this, which are the numbers, I was going to move to the right, add everything, divide and divide, so that I get the value of x. But because now it's a squared, that's why I move everything to the left side of the equal sign. Okay, so that means I've got 2x squared, this is minus 6x, and then this is 8 minus 16, it should be, what is it, isn't it 8? I think it's 8, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's 8. You can just correct me if I'm making a mistake, but you can just punch in a calculator. It should be 8, isn't it? So, can we not just divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, so that we just have x squared minus 3x minus, I think it should be 4, isn't it? So it's 4. Okay, then you can easily now factorize. Okay, so your x, what number when multiplied by that number gives you 4 is this one. Obviously, in terms of the signs, ladies and gentlemen, should be careful here. I think if you make it a minus there and a positive there, it's going to easily give you that number. So that means x is equals to minus 1, or x is equals to 4. Okay, very, very much important, ladies. So obviously, guys, because that point R is on the negative side of the x-axis, it cannot be that number. Okay, so it cannot be that number. That means x is equals to -1. Okay, so when you calculate the value of y, you can substitute this x value on the equation of g or the equation of f. For me, let me just substitute it on the equation of g, then you will substitute there and check if you find the same answer. So it's -2 into -1 plus 8. So obviously this times that, it's equals to 2 plus 8, then that means it should be equals to 10, isn't it? Because 8 plus 2 is equals to 10. So that means there you've got 10, ladies and gentlemen. So that means the coordinates of R, that's where x is equals to -1, and then y is equals to 10. Okay, so guys, I think let's just end it there. Let's just end it there, and then from there, let me see, and then from there, okay, let's just quickly mark this question. So let me see guys, obviously it's allocated 4 marks. The thing is, I'm not really sure if this battery will last us, but it's fine. If it happens to catch me in the middle of a lesson, you'll just notice that it was actually the battery. So let me just continue with the lesson and forget about the battery. In case if it cuts me, then just know that is the battery. Then from there, based on how far we've covered the work, then I will see if I need to do part 2 or not. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look. Obviously, I think you deserve a mark over there. Why? Because you knew that at that point R, all of these are the same. Okay, so we give you a mark for that part, right? And then, ladies and gentlemen, for writing this equation in the standard form, either that form or this form, we will give you a mark. Okay, doesn't matter whether you factorized it while it was in that form or this form, we give you a mark. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so again, we give you a mark for your x values which are correct. Okay, and obviously your last mark, ladies and gentlemen, we give you a mark for your y value over there. Okay, guys, I think I've covered most of the questions which are very, very much important. So we're just left with 2 questions. I see, let's see, this one is allocated 2 marks and that one is allocated 4 marks. And they say, use your graphs to solve for x where f of x is greater or is equals to g of x. So it's 2 marks. It should be easy. Also that one, they just want you to solve for x by using the graphs to tell where that graph, which is negative 2x squared plus 4x minus 2, it's less than 0. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I think or maybe let me just give you, I think we might quickly do this last one. Then from there, the question that I haven't done, it will be your homework. Okay, hopefully they won't ask you this question in your exam. So even if you haven't got a chance to do this homework, then it's fine. It's fine. I think we'll just do it for the learners who are still in grade 11. So this is question 6.4. Obviously this will be question 6.4.1. So guys, the question says use your graphs to solve for x where f of x is greater or equals to it's what is greater or equals to g of x. Okay, very, very much importantly. So you can just try to check, ladies and gentlemen. You can just try to check on that graph where that graph of g is where that graph of f, I'm trying to interpret where that graph of f is greater or equals to g. So this is your first step, ladies and gentlemen, because obviously they said solve for x, isn't it? So that means they want the x values. Okay, so you'll have that x value and then or you'll have the other x value. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you can just try obviously to substitute to check where you get positive numbers and again where you get negative numbers. Okay, so one thing for sure, between these 2 points, between there and there, this is where you should get the graph of g, the graph of f greater than that straight line. I think for this one, ladies and gentlemen, because there are things that I'm thinking in my mind of which I know very well that I haven't taught you this stuff and you won't easily understand. But at where x is greater or equals to -1, that's where you should have this graph greater or equals to g. And again, where x is less or equals to 4, that's where you should have the graph of f greater or equals to that graph of g. So ladies and gentlemen, just so that it makes sense, remember that point over there, it's -1. So this is the -1 that we're talking about. And again, this is the point that we're talking about over there. So this is how it's going to make sense to you, and I hope so. So ladies and gentlemen, let me shade this part. So it's more like we're giving the x coordinates where this graph of f is above the graph of where it's above the graph of g. Okay, so that means from that point and that point, that's where this graph of f is greater than the graph of g. I'm not sure if it makes sense, guys. That's why I'm saying I will need to do a special lesson where I explain to you, okay? Otherwise, if they said where that graph is less or it's equals to, so someone can notice that maybe that portion over there could be a possible answer, okay? So I'll just have to make sure that I teach you this lesson in full so that you understand what they mean when they say something is less or equal to. Otherwise, if they just said less than, ladies and gentlemen, then also there you just have less than, okay? So that sign of inequality depends on what was given on the question, okay? Very, very much important, ladies. And again, if you don't want to explain it this way, you can just say that's where x is between -1 and between 4. So this thing, ladies and gentlemen, this thing is the same as that, okay? So here you're saying between -1 and 4. That's what this notation means. It means between negative, that's where x is between -1 and 4. That's where x is between -1 and 4. That's where you have this graph of f greater than the graph of g, okay? Did I say greater or less? How did I get that sign, ladies and gentlemen? I think, this is, I actually changed it. I changed it from the question. They said where f of x is greater or equals to g of x. Okay, so guys, I hope you understood. And then now, obviously, because this question is allocated 2 marks, okay? Otherwise, they just say boom, boom, then you get a mark. So your homework, ladies and gentlemen, your homework, use your graphs to solve for x where that graph is less than 0, okay? So use those graphs to give us the values of x where this it's less than 0, okay? So guys, thanks very much for joining. It wasn't really 100% lesson. I'm very much disappointed by my battery, but otherwise, guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson as much as I did.